Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Seat at the Bar. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into this podcast as we continue to unravel our journeys through dance, talking about what lies beyond for us as artists and individuals. I hope you've been having fun listening to these dancers' distinctly unique stories. I know I sure have. I also want to take this time to share with all of you that I'll be traveling to California for a few months to be closer to family. I'm still committed to bringing you more interviews in the coming weeks featuring all the artists involved with SCDC. Unfortunately, I will not be able to travel with this equipment, so apologies for the less produced sound quality during this time. I'm also excited to announce that in the fall, I plan to bring you a second season of this podcast, featuring the people behind the scenes of SCDC, such as choreographers involved, along with artistic and creative staff. So, thanks again for your continued support of this collective. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I have every hope that the arts will prevail. On today's episode, I'm joined by Soloist with the New York City Ballet, Unity Phelan. Unity was born in Princeton, New Jersey, and began her dance training at the age of 5 at the Princeton Ballet School. She joined the School of American Ballet in 2009 and later became an apprentice with New York City Ballet in 2012. She then joined the company as a full-time member of the Corps de Ballet just a year later. In February of 2017, Unity was then promoted to soloist. Unity already has a number of featured and originated roles under her belt, from choreographers such as George Balanchine, William Forsythe, Justin Peck, Alexei Ratmansky, Christopher Wheeldon, Jerome Robbins, and Peter Martins, to name a few. She has also worked with my friend and choreographic associate with the National Ballet of Canada, Robert Benet. On top of all this, Unity has starred in a number of featured films, including John Wick. She's a brand ambassador for PUMA and has modeled for a variety of print and video campaigns. One of SCDC's missions is to collaborate and assemble a variety of dancers from various companies coming together to learn from one another. Being able to meet other dancers and getting to know each other's individual, unique style and work ethic is an invaluable experience. Having Unity on board with this collective meant so much, and it was a testament to her character and having faith in a brand new project like SCDC. I had so much fun getting to know her and learning how she approaches this demanding profession with such ease and optimism. Unity, thanks so much for joining me here this afternoon for you, early morning for me, because I'm on the West Coast. So thanks so much for taking the time. It's great to finally meet you, and I'm really excited for our listeners to get to know you a little better. Firstly, because I think you're such a wonderful dance artist. And secondly, because I can't wait to hear about your time at New York City Ballet and what that has been like for you, because on this podcast, I've spoken to a handful of dancers involved at various levels within the National Ballet and Boston Ballet who are involved with SCDC. But we haven't really dove into dancers at New York City Ballet, which I also I'm very interested to speak to. So thanks so much again for taking the time. And yeah, I guess my first question would be, you've been afforded some, really amazing opportunities in your career, and I want to touch on those a little bit later, but what first attracted you to ballet, and what was it about New York City Ballet that drew your attention?
So I am a classic case of my sister danced and I wanted to dance. I had a lot of energy as a kid, and I guess my parents saw that my sister really enjoyed doing ballet, and they figured why not kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, put two kids in the same place for 3 hours a week and get a little bit of free time.
Nice.
But I loved it. I loved the physical aspect of it. I loved the mental aspect of it. It's like, when you're a kid, and I, of course, went through a phase of not wanting to do my homework. And my parents would be like, well, if you don't finish your homework, you're not allowed to go to ballet. That's always what it was for me. It was like, that was the prize.
It was the incentive.
Exactly. So I loved it from a young age. And then when I was 14, I got accepted. When I was 13, I almost came to the winter program at the School of American Ballet. But then when I was 14, I decided to do high school in New York City and go for it. And I never, ever thought I would get into New York City Ballet, ever.
Wow.
I was the last person, especially if you'd asked me at that age. But I got very lucky, and in the middle of Nutcracker season, got into the company. I loved the Balanchine like jazziness. I don't think I'm a little bit more of a freer dancer, I like to think. Not so in a box.
Rigid,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So I think it suited me well.
Right.
I still have to work towards it, but it was better than trying to.
That's amazing. So you were and they brought you in halfway through?
Yeah. So in December, like the first week of December, there was like a rumor floating around that they were going to take 2 new apprentices, and I was like, no, that's not going to happen. Disbelief. And then we were taking variations class with Darcy Kistler, and one of my really good friends, Alexa Maxwell, and we were going, and she kept doting on us. And then after the class, we both got pulled into an office, and I was like, what did we do? And we looked at each other like,
you thought you were in trouble.
I totally thought we were in trouble. I was like, what did we do? Like, I don't, and she was like, have you done anything bad? And I was like, I don't think so. Like, I've shown up to class. I've like gone to school. I don't really know what this could be.
Right.
We were given our apprenticeships that day, and Lexi actually performed that night.
Wow.
Because
that is fast.
She had done flowers at CPYB, where she trained, and
so she knew it a little bit. Yeah.
Like, either of you know flowers to our meeting, and
oh my God.
Like, yeah, I did it like a year ago at CPYB. Like, okay, we have a rehearsal in a half hour on stage. Like, go get your point shoes on. Let's put you into this spot. And then I went in like a couple days later, but that was so crazy. It was like pinch me, and then that whole apprenticeship year was so terrifying. And
I bet it probably felt like a whirlwind. I mean, I want to jump back. You said you started dancing because of your sister?
Yes.
And is she older or younger?
She's older. She's a year and a half older.
So is she still dancing, or did she move
all
into
through high school? And then she moved on to some choreography for Broadway.
Oh, nice.
She went to Tisch for musical theater and drama, and then she did choreography for Broadway, and then she had a bit of a medical setback, and now she actually graduated to getting her master's in social work.
Wow, good for her. Amazing. So she got a taste for it, but now she's in her field that she feels the most comfortable in. Yeah. Amazing. And your parents didn't feel, or they didn't have any reservations sending you off at 14? Because I know a lot of parents. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I think about it now, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe they let me move to New York City.
I know.
My first year, I wasn't told that I had to come home every weekend, but I did.
Okay.
I came home every weekend, and that actually kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Right. It's nice that you had that ability to do that.
It was, I'm from New Jersey, so it was a train ride away, and it wasn't bad. So I went home every weekend, and then the next year when I was 15, it was like 3 out of 4 weekends.
Right.
And then when my sisters started going to NYU, I started spending the night at my sister's on Friday or Saturday.
Nice. Perfect. So that was an amazing time for you guys to have each other there, probably in the city. Because I'm sure at 14, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like probably so overwhelming. And like you said, it's just like a dream.
I didn't travel beyond like 72nd and 59th. I stayed
you stayed in your little bubble. Oh my gosh. So it's cool to think about you describing that as a bubble, and then wanting to kind of break free within your own creative sort of journey as a dancer too, within the company there that offers a lot of variety as well. What was the first big role that you were given? So you mentioned you were kind of thrown into you jumped into the company halfway through the season during Nutcracker, and then did you have some like troughs along the way, or after that it just kept getting more and more and more and more opportunities?
So I was thrown in Nutcracker. There were so many when you're an apprentice, every tiny little thing you read into. So I was left off the schedule once. Like, all my fellow apprentices were going to learn like the finale of Union Jack, which was like just everyone who didn't know it was supposed to go learn it. And I wasn't called to it. but I was like, I don't know if this is like a bad thing. I don't know what's going on. So I just kept to myself, and I went down to the video and learned it myself in case that I did need to do it. And it turns out that was just a like clerical error.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I had to go learn it. But like, of course, things like that happened. And even when I was an apprentice, I didn't think I was going to get into the corps. I was like, enough things like that had happened, and I was like, they don't like me. Something's wrong. But then I did get into the corps, and my first year in the corps, I got cast to do Agon, the first pas de trois. So the two girls dance. It's what like one of my absolute favorite roles to date. But that was my first big opportunity, I'd say.
And then amazing. And what was that process like? Was it pretty like quick? Like it seems like everything moves pretty fast around there. Was it like that during Agon, or?
We actually got lucky. We learned it in Saratoga, and in the Saratoga to be performed in the fall season. So we had a couple weeks in the summer, and then we had like a nice 4-week layoff to think about it and then come back to it. So that was good.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
And it was nice too, because it was one of my good friends, Ashley Hott, and I did it together. So we were both really young. So it was nice being like,
have another like team member.
Yeah. And that also, I think for us was really great because we were so malleable in a way. We didn't have any ideas about how the choreography should be done. We didn't have any like, well, no, I want it done this way. Like we weren't. So I think our ballet masters had a really good time working with us because we were like willing to keep going and working and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of like seeing young dancers get those first opportunities. Myself included, I felt that same way when I got, I was second year in the corps and I got a title role in John Neumann's Nijinsky. And I had that same feeling like you were saying, I was just living in the moment. Like I didn't have time to think about how stressed out I was going to be, how big of an opportunity it was. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like when you're young, you kind of just go for it. And I think there's a sort of beauty in that. And then you obviously refine your energy level as you age and mature. But I think, to never forget those like first moments are key into like having a long and fulfilling career.
Completely agree. I think that like, yes, I am a hard worker, and yes, I like have natural ability, but I think that the thing that has prolonged my rise, or the number of roles that I've been able to do, is that I am fun in the studio, and I am very agreeable and am happy to work on anything and try anything. And I think that is something that I realized at a young age, getting to understudy a lot of people. That was something that ballet masters always responded really well to.
Definitely.
And I wanted to emulate that. So that was
totally
a big thing for me.
And I think that's a beautiful thing about, and I feel I'm just like thinking about ballet competitions in general right now. And I think that's something like that should be implemented more within the competition, is to see how all of these dancers are or function in the studio as people, because you have to deal with personalities and not just talent.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know. I mean, Prix de Lausanne does that, but that's just one out of the handful that are out there that are just looking for the final product. But so much of the work goes on behind the scenes. You have to deal with people picking up steps or not being able to pick up steps as quickly. So there's so many different moving parts behind the scenes that I feel like not a lot of us think about. And it's so good that you have a strong head on your shoulders and you approach it with just an open mind and heart, and you want to have fun, it seems like, right?
Yeah, I always try to keep it light. That's like my number one studio rule. Keep it light. You got to keep it.
I'm so there with you. So I guess that brings me to my next question. What is your motivation every day as a dancer? I mean, motivation can be thrown onto being on stage, or it can be like just walking in to the door, like getting through the door.
I'll actually say that on days when I'm exhausted or anything, or one of my friends walks in and they're like, I'm so tired. I'm like, you made it here, especially before
Yeah.
class. If you make it to class, you won.
Yeah.
You won for the day if you made it.
Yeah.
But I'm very like strict with myself, I'd say, about class and showing up. I think I've missed like 3 days of work total in my 6 years at the company.
Nice.
I don't know. I think it's just this need to better myself every day as best I can.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, when I'm in class, it's a very not different me, but I get very focused, and it's like I'm not a talk in the back during class person. I like do this combination a million times. I'm like, I get not neurotic, but like definitely type A during class.
Right. I to be honest, I love that because that's how you're going to get better. Like you, as long as you don't get worked up about it or you don't fixate on things, then that's a healthy approach. Totally. So most memorable moment, Unity. You've had some pretty awesome moments based on what I've read and this like videos that I've watched of you. But can you describe a moment that has been most memorable to you thus far in your career?
I think that the first time I did Sugar Plum is a show that I will never ever forget, because I had one. I was only cast to do one Sugar Plum Fairy that whole
one show.
And I only got one show the year after that too, so it didn't get much better. But I had one show, and I got to dance it with my now fiance.
Oh, amazing! Congrats.
It was like one of the only things we ever danced together, so it was very special. Sugar Plum's also a role that I had wanted to do forever since I learned the very end of the school. It was like it just felt right, and getting to perform it on stage was like such an emotional experience. Also because it was with Cameron, so it was really, really special.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I mean, it's like I have always wanted to be the Sugar Plum Fairy. It's like,
of course,
every child's dream. So
yeah. So you had that in the back of your mind, but I can imagine some people have it in the back of their mind, and then when they're faced with the opportunity, they might retract and feel like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was going to feel like. In your case, it seemed very natural. Like you felt the best you've ever felt in your skin. It seems, just from what you described. And the fact that you got to do it with your fiance is even cooler. Do you guys have a good working relationship in the studio?
We did. It was actually really fun because I had started doing a little bit more partnering at that point. And like we were also like, our first rehearsal, we ran the pas de deux. There were no big problems, but then we finessed stuff as we went on. But it was really funny because our ballet masters, who were John Stafford and Katie Tracy at the time, they both they'd be like, oh, let's check that again. They'd like go back to a certain moment, and we then would like discuss it between the two of us. And then they'd be like, okay, great, you guys fixed it. We didn't need to do anything. Okay,
yeah,
the next
perfect. One. You guys are troubleshooting yourselves. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And so were there any creations that you were a part of that come to mind that you really enjoyed? I mean, I really wish I was able to see Ratmansky's latest creation. Is it his latest creation, Voices?
Yeah.
And you were a part of that along 4 other ballerinas for the leading voices, so to speak. What was that like?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was very surreal. I am I'd never come to expect anything, I think. Maybe that's not right, but I never, when I was called to it, I was like, oh, I'm understudying somebody. And someone was like, no, your name's first. You're definitely doing it. And I was like, no, I'm probably understudying someone. But it was amazing. He is such an incredible choreographer because he comes in with like a phrase or two, and then he's really good at reading the room, and he sees how far he can push you. And I found myself doing things that I like never thought I would be able to do, and never thought I would be able to do on stage. And it was was so amazing, that process. And like I've done some other of his ballets, and they're always
Right.
Another memorable moment is I got to dance Fresh in Seasons early in my career, and it's part that Wendy Whalen originated, and it was like
Beautiful.
I talked to her about it, and she said that the character is almost like bipolar in a sense, because her first solo is really happy and like kind of funky, and then her second one is about her sending her husband off to war, and like she ends the solo like on the ground breaking down in tears.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow. The dramatic arc on that is like crazy and it's not like it's a non-narrative sort of narrative work. I feel like he in particular thrives in those, and he works with your company so well. I feel like in that sort of format, I think, like you said, you worked with him a couple of times even before Voices, and so he knew what you were capable of, and then some. It seems like you said, he brought out things that you didn't even know.
He definitely pushes his dancers, but I say it works so well with City Ballet because all we want is to be pushed, and that's like I haven't any time I'm interviewed or anything that's like all I want is to like keep being like pushed almost to the edge, and like almost to I don't think is possible, and proving that it is.
That's really, really important for, I mean, and push, when you say push, it's not drill.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like people can mistake that word for, drilling or rehearsing something to death and pushing it till you're just like sick and tired of it, but that's not what you're describing.
No, I'm describing like being cast in different roles, or picked for different things that I wouldn't think are perfect for me, but somebody sees it somewhere and they want to see if I can rise to the challenge.
So now that we're kind of on to choreographers, are there any choreographers or different ballets that don't normally show up in City Ballet's rep that you'd want to dance?
Yes.
Do you have a list?
Oh yeah, of course. So we actually got to work with Forsyth last year, which was the first time in a number of years that he had come back, and I was lucky enough to work very closely with him on Herman Schmerman, which was amazing.
Amazing.
I've always wanted to dance all of his ballets. They are just the right amount of wacky, I think, and I love them. I've always wanted to work with Crystal Pite, Wayne McGregor. Chroma is like one of my favorite ballets. I am lucky enough to go to the Vale Dance Festival most of the summers, and they always bring in someone different. And I saw Lauren Cuthbertson and Marcy. I don't remember.
Marcelino.
And I watched it, and my jaw was like on the ground. I was like,
amazing.
Bucket list. That's a bucket list ballet.
Yeah, I really love the Vale Dance Festival. I think they're wonderful. I really hope to get there. I want to talk to you about education, because it seems like that's also a big part of your life. Are you working on any degrees right now?
Education is a big part of my life. I actually graduated high school early, so I did it in 3 years and started going to college right away. So I'm actually graduating in December.
Oh, congratulations.
That's
great.
I'm double majoring in organizational leadership and economics.
Wow.
Which it was a choice I made like 2 years ago, where I had finished out organizational leadership, the major, and they said, okay, you have finished this major, you can write like 4 or 5 papers and graduate if you want, because that's what a lot of dancers do to finish up quickly. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be really bored if I have a slow season and I don't have school to do. What are the other majors that I can tackle? And my dean was like, here are a list of 5 majors that you could do. And I was like, not stuff I really wanted. And then economics was on it. And I was like, okay, this I think I have some interest in. And I'm so happy I made that choice, because I've really enjoyed working on the economic stuff. I love learning about the way the world works, the way the economy works. And I think it has been super helpful for the future. And I am graduating in December, and I have 5 more classes. I'm taking 3 in the summer and 2 in the fall, and I am very excited. It's crazy.
So that's amazing, Unity. Is this university connected to New York City Ballet?
It's not. It's Fordham University, and they have a program called the Professional and Continuing School, where they offer classes on Monday nights, which is our dark day, and then I take morning classes before work from 8:30 to 9:45, or I'll take online classes. So that's how I've done almost all of my classes.
Do you find like working online and taking classes online, is that something you feel like you were good at, or you had to sort of learn how to participate in classes that are structured online?
I was definitely very good at it because I had also taken some online classes before any of COVID began disrupting university.
Yeah.
So when we started, I was taking environmental economics this spring, and when we started doing the collaborative sessions and like all the online stuff, my friend and I were both like, we're really good at this. We can like get all of our work done on our own time, and like both of us would do the
you were prepared.
we put the work online, and we do it that day, and like check our answers with each other, submit it.
Nice.
Just meet up for the collaborate session 6 days later.
So good. So the collaborate session, is that sort of like a video call situation? Gotcha.
Blackboard. So it was called Blackboard Collaborate, but he was the only teacher that I know of that didn't want to use Zoom, but that's fine.
Wow. I mean, 1 out of hundreds is probably, can't win them all. Now going back to sort of ballet and the athletic side, you clearly love the athletic side of ballet, and you love fitness outside of the studio. You recently did a tour to Asia for PUMA, and what was that like for you, and what did you learn from that trip?
So that trip was incredible. I was there with a fantastic trainer named Emily Cook Harris, but it was so crazy because it was a 10-day 5-country tour. So it was 10 days long, and we hit 5 different Southeast Asia. It was, I'm going to mess this up, Japan, China, Malaysia,
Indonesia,
and then Singapore. Yes.
Wow.
Singapore. So we did all of those. So we had some that were like fly in, fly out days, and some that were stay the night days. But it was really, really fun. I got started in fitness super young because my ballet teachers in New York didn't think I could build muscle. I was a super late bloomer, and I had literal straws for legs that had 0 muscle definition. So they were just concerned about that.
Right. They needed to get you to do some squats.
So I started going to a gym at 15. I started a gym membership and would go and take the fitness classes, which I think was really fun. And that's what got me started on learning how to teach fitness and learning how to through doing. And I slowly developed muscles. I've realized that something about my body, it takes me a very long time to build visible muscles.
Right.
To the outside. And it's so funny because some of my friends see what I'm doing in our workout room, and they're like, oh my gosh, with that I would pop open. And I was like, do this for the next 5 weeks and you'll still won't see a difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that sort of came to you at an early age, and then you stuck with it. You seem to like it. And now, are you certified as a personal trainer yourself?
I am not. I am looking into how to do that.
Right.
Especially during this time while I have time to hopefully do it via online session. But I have created a lot of workouts for PUMA. I've created workouts for other different for ClassPass. I worked with ClassPass. I've worked with a bunch of social media sites on creating ballet inspired fitness.
Nice.
But I love like sweating, and I love working out. Right now my fiance can work from home, so at like last night it was at like 9 p.m. when he finished what he had to do and had a 30-minute break, and he was like, I want to do a workout, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And I was like,
nice.
We both put on something, and I
mean,
workout.
Apparently evenings are the best time to work out, so you guys are doing it right.
That's good. And I was like, this is so late to do it, and he was like, late again. And I was like, yes, it is.
Well, it's like if you were on stage, you're on stage at like 10:30 p.m. So
it's true.
It's probably no different. Amazing. Last thing, and I'm going to quote you.
Oh no.
Trying to find yourself in ballet is a lifelong goal, you say. I would love for you to elaborate on this if you can, or if you just want to keep it at that, that's cool too. But I kind of wanted to unravel that quote a little bit more.
So two of my amazing mentors, Heather Watson, Damien Woltzel, have coined a phrase for me to think of when I feel stuck on a role or stuck doing something. They say, find your unityness. And that's what I like say to myself. Because dancers get so caught up in seeing what other people can do and watching videos of somebody who's done the role before you, or wanting to emulate a certain person or a certain style or anything really. And one of the first lessons I learned when I started getting bigger opportunities was that I should not even try to do what the person before me did, and that I need to start back from scratch and figure out how I want to do a step. And this like goes for every single step at the bar. This goes for it, like you can bring it way back to basics. But especially when you're working on a role, I do watch videos. I definitely watch videos because borrowing other people's ideas and other people's choices is a great thing to do. But only if it feels right to you. And I think that each dancer has such a different past and history and view of the world and ideas. And I think that letting those come through is what sets a dancer aside.
Definitely.
Instead of just doing what everyone thinks wants to be seen, they want seen, or what everyone thinks is right. Being like, that's one of the first things I worked with Alexia Ratmansky on was this solo from Russian Seasons. And my ballet master, I was like, but I don't think I'm like straightening my knee here. I don't think this is the right position. She was like, you have to be as weird as you can be. Like embrace all your weird quirks and embrace all the funny things that you do and just do them, because that's who you are as a dancer. And he'll see that when he works with you. And then from there, he'll be able to figure something out.
It. Yeah.
He was dying because the first time I ran the solo for him, it's like a 4 counts of 8 solo. He was like, okay, that was perfect. What's the next one? And we were both like, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
We'll move on. But it's when you kind of let all those preconceived notions and let all the ideas of what you think would be perfect and should look perfect go, when you can like tap into who you are.
Perfectly said. I really agree with that. And I truly think you can tell people's personalities from their dancing on stage. Like when I'm watching dancers whom I don't know, I can tell what type of people they are as humans, as just like you and I talking, from their dancing on stage. Because, or I can maybe I would like to think that I can pick out the ones that are doing exactly what you just explained, or are truly just being free and comfortable within their skin and not overthinking in a way.
Definitely.
Thanks so much again for taking the time and talking with me today, Unity. I think you're such a well-spoken, wonderful human. I really am looking forward for you to be part of this collective. And once our seasons start back up, hopefully we'll all get the chance to be together again. And hopefully throughout the year, we'll find the chance to do that.
Yeah.
But until then, take care. And it's great talking.
Yeah, it was so nice getting to chat.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of A Seat at the Bar. Be sure to rate and subscribe to this podcast, and don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, Facebook, or website for the latest news of what SCDC is doing to bring dance closer to you. Have a great week ahead. Be well.